You. Please be seated. Slight change in the program. I tell people I always preach on the gospel, and there are 2 gospel readings today. We've already had one, so it's time for the first sermon. What a fun parade. Beautiful day, kids, old people, waving palms, smiling. It should have been called maybe the Macy's Palm Sunday Parade. But that's not what it was about. What was this parade, this silly parade, Jesus on a donkey, all about? It's a story of East Side and West Side. Jesus was coming from the home of Lazarus in Bethany near the Mount of Olives on the east side of Jerusalem. But meanwhile, as he was coming into town on a donkey, something very different was happening on the west side of Jerusalem. Jerusalem at the time of the Passover tripled in size from about 50,000 to about 150,000. And it was a city under military occupation. And the Israelites were not very happy about that. So you can guess what the attitude of the Romans were. Very smart occupiers. When they had a crowd 3 times its normal size, what did they do? They had their own parade on the west side of town, led by chariots and mighty horses and lots of swords and lots of armor and lots of helmets, telling people from the west side of town that this is what real power in the world is all about. It's about weapons, it's about might, it's about strength. But over on the east side, Jesus is telling a very different story with his parade. He is saying that God's wisdom actually will appear to us most of the time as foolishness. If we are acting in accordance with the gospel, many people will view us as foolish. And God's real strength comes not through strong people, through soldiers, through violence, but rather it comes through weak people, or like us, many of us very strong, who have some very weak and hurting parts. And those are the source of God's power in the world. It is not the power of violence, it is instead the power of love. The power of love. Jesus asks us today and most other days of our lives, which parade will we choose to be in? There are a lot of advantages to being in the West Side Parade. Some of you may know that before retirement, I was with the New York State Attorney General's office. And New York State is a very powerful entity. And when we came into court, there was the temptation, at which many attorneys followed, to come in a 3-piece suit, followed by another person in a 3-piece suit, by another person in a 3-piece suit, all looking very dapper, and to sit down in synchronized motion to say, this is the real power here in court. Having followed Jesus and learned to follow him better throughout my life, I gave up on that show of power. Instead, when I came in alone, representing the state. And the first place I went to was the paper cups and the jug of water on the bailiff's table, and went around to everyone in the room. The jurors, the other attorneys, the court stenographers, saying, "Would you like some water?" If so, let me serve you. There will be an opportunity for us at church here this week to follow in Jesus' footsteps. That will be by coming to Maundy Thursday services, Good Friday services, and to learn what Jesus is all about in practical terms. Washing feet, including people at dinner that will betray him, people he would not otherwise want to share the Passover meal with. But even more important than church, my friends, is that every day of your life and my life, we will have opportunities to meet with people, and we can either work from our power. You will have power in different ways than I do, but you know how to use your power, and you can use that power in the way of the world to run over people, to get your way, to advance your agenda, or as we'll hear in the reading from Philippians soon, act like Jesus, who chose to let go of that power and let God do amazing things through it. Long enough for the first sermon?